Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. Now if you're wondering why I'm dressed all smart, it's because I've come straight from my day job. If you're really interested, I work in a boring office, nothing to do with cars, and it's not really worth talking about. But I do have something that is worth talking about, and it's right here to my left hand side. It is of course the latest Ford Mustang, and you'll be pleased to know that it's the 5 litre V8 version. So let's of course have a look around. Now I really like this colour to kick off with. It's called Orange Fury. What a name that is, by the way. Now this is the facelifted version of the 6th generation. You will note the front end is more aggressive, it looks more in your face, it's more muscular. The bonnet has been lowered and the lower grille has been revised to give better aerodynamics and of course to make the car look meaner. You've also got a more aggressive front splitter. Let me give you a closer look, guys. Look at that. So it really looks like this car's got a firm square jaw. Now, I'll be honest, when I first saw photos of the facelift, I wasn't too sure on the new sorry, excuse me. I wasn't too sure on the front end. I thought it looked a little bit too frowny face and maybe a little bit too aggressive. I must admit, the more I see it, the more I am starting to come around. Now this car has got different alloys as part of a custom pack. I will talk more about the specification as I go along. As you can probably see, I haven't got a lot of daylight left. Actually, it looks quite bright up there, but believe me, the light is fading. Oh, come on autofocus. So I will try not to talk too much because I am running out of daylight, but there's plenty to talk about on this car. As I've mentioned, this one is of course the 5 litre version, so it's got the big hairy chested V8, none of that EcoBoost nonsense. And at the back, it's pretty much typical Mustang affair. You know it's a Mustang just by looking at it. And of course you've got the GT badge to signify it's the proper Mustang. And you've also got 4 exhaust pipes as well, which you can't really see, a little bit too dark. And trust me guys, they make a glorious noise. I will try my best to try and give you some exhaust noise. Where I am, you do have a few horses and there's a house over to my left. And this car, as you can imagine, is pretty loud. And as I've mentioned, I am running out of daylight. But I will try my best to try and give you some exhaust noise because I imagine that's the main reason why a lot of you are here. So outside, yep, a big thumbs up from me. Still not overly sure on the front end, but it is growing on me. Let's have a look inside, shall we? This car's got keyless entry, but it's unlocked anyway. Now, the new Mustang has been revised inside to make it a bit more sophisticated, a bit more premium, and it is a nice place to be, although, as you will soon see, some of the interior materials are a little bit suspect. Now, this model has got the optional Recaro seats, which are really nice, but I won't lie, they are rather expensive. So, want to have a guess, guys, how much these are? Well, if you guessed 1,400, then give yourself a massive pat on the back. Oh, come on, autofocus. Autofocus is really not with it today. Sorry, guys. There we go. Give yourself a massive pat on the back because you are correct. These seats will cost you 1,400. Would I pay that for these seats? I don't know. They are very nice. They are very supportive, yet still comfortable. I've driven many motorway miles on with this car, and at no point have I really had any backache. So although they may look very race orientated and quite bucketed, they are still comfortable. However, my dad got in this car and he's a broader fellow than I am, and he did find that the side bolsters did pinch him a little bit. So if you're a wider person, you may find them a little bit uncomfortable. Anyway, that's enough about their seats. Like I say, I haven't got too long in which to film this video. So let me quickly gloss over the interior material. So it's quite nice. You've got plenty of leather, which feels nice to the touch. But you come onto the centre console and the buttons feel a little bit rubbish and that plastic layer is a little bit scratchy. And when I first got in, maybe I was foolish for thinking this, but I thought this was like aluminium. I was like, oh, that's a really nice touch, but sadly it's plastic. It looks nice, but it's plastic. But maybe I'm expecting too much. The whole idea of the Ford Mustang is that it's a blue collar hero, you know, it's a working class hero, and that it's able to offer V8 performance to the working man. Well, the working man that can afford it, of course. Speaking of which, the V8 version, actually I've got the spec sheet right here. I'm going to be lazy and just read off this, excuse me guys. So normally this car would cost you £41,745, but it has got a few options which I will detail in due course. Before I do so, let me turn on the ignition. Now, one of the key things about the inside is, I need to try and move the steering wheel. Let me quickly start it up. This won't be a quiet start. Never get tired of that. Right, turn it off because I'm just going to be burning petrol for no reason. As you can imagine, this car is far from frugal. I really like that touch, by the way. Yes, I know the driver's door open. Be quiet. Be quiet. Right, so as you can see already, my MPG is 22.7, and that's what I would normally get on a combined run, so fast roads and a bit of town driving and so forth. So you've got a new 12-inch display, which looks fantastic. It changes with each driving mode, so I've got the drive mode select here. There we are, toggle it up like so. So you've got racetrack. Oh no, it's gone back into normal mode. So I've got normal, my mode, which is basically your individual mode. I don't know why it's telling me why it's not available. I think it might be because the car isn't actually turned on. You've got Sport Plus, which you saw briefly there. Racetrack, drag strip, snow/wet. Huh, who's going to be driving this car when it's snowy? And that's your lot. So you've got 6 driving modes in total. You've also got different settings for the steering. So you've got normal, come on, normal, normal. Okay, it's not changing, but I think that's because the engine isn't running. But you've got normal, sport and comfort. Now, going back to my mode, you can, you know, that's basically your individual mode. How I have it is, so I have pretty much everything in Sport Plus, and I have the exhaust in race mode. I will be honest with you, when you do put it into race mode, which I won't be able to do right now, it does say that it's for track use only. Don't really know why, because yes, the exhaust is loud, but it's not really deafening, and you know, it's no louder than a fart can you'd hear on a Honda, you know, on a modified EP3 Honda Civic Type R. So, you know, I honestly think it's okay to use, but obviously if Ford states it's for track use, you know, I'm pretty sure Ford is covering its own back. So the display changes with each mode. I'll tell you what, let me just fire it up again. It'd be rude not to. So that way I can give you a better... Oh yes, I know. So my mode, it says for track use, that's because I've got it in race exhaust. Then you've got Sport Plus, again the display doesn't change purely because in my mode I have it as Sport Plus, so it's a very similar setup. You've got racetrack, which again you should see the display change like so. Drag strip, which is kind of similar, but you've got a little thing on the right hand side. And snow and wet, like so. And you can change the colours as well, so I've got it as orange to match the outside, but you can pretty much have it to any colour you want, which is quite nice. And again, let's turn it off because I'm just burning petrol. And I'm probably disturbing the local wildlife. You also get an 8-inch touchscreen as standard. Yes, this car likes to bleep. Yes, okay, good. So you also get an 8-inch touchscreen, which is fitted with Ford's Sync 3 system. It works very well. It's not the most dazzling display to look at, but it works well enough, and it's got everything you need. So I've got dual zone climate control, I've got navigation, and I've also got smartphone connectivity as well. So you've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and of course you've got Bluetooth and DAB radio. So that's all quite self-explanatory. You've also got a rear view camera, which you can see there. There we are. And I've also mentioned, I've already mentioned dual zone climate control, traction control off. hazard button, which I must admit isn't the best design, because when you want to find the hazard button in a hurry, it's not quite clear. You know, you can't really see it out of your peripheral vision. So I would want that to be maybe a little bit more clear. Maybe have the whole toggle red, who knows, but that's me nitpicking. Let me just quickly talk about space in here. I know it's not really the most exciting thing to be talking about, but glove box has got a decent amount of space in there. Don't know why, but whenever Ford sends me a car, it's always got high-vis jackets in it. Seems a little bit overkill, but you know, that's health and safety. Actually, I'm going to come back to storage, because I'm sure a lot of you couldn't give a rat's ass about storage. This car is fitted with the 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, you can have a brand new 10-speed automatic, which I have tried. I tried it out in the Mustang convertible I drove a few months back. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check out that video. To summarise, the 10-speed auto is not bad, but it's not quite as good as what the Germans could offer you. And I'm sorry, guys, but 10 speeds, far too much choice. Anyway, back onto storage. The door bins are of a decent size. Been able to squeeze a 500ml bottle of water in there. Little compartment here where I'd like to put my smartphone or the key. 2 cup holders, which I must admit aren't very practical, because once you've got a bottle in them, so let's grab that bottle there. Once you've got a bottle in there, it kind of blocks your access to change gear, which I think is a little bit silly. It is a little bit of an oversight from Ford. And you've also got a storage compartment there. Oh, I forgot I had that popcorn. Well, I'll munch that later. You do also have 2 rear seats, but in all honesty, they're really for children, because behind me, you can't really see, but there's almost no leg room whatsoever. I'm a tall guy, so I'm 6'2", so it's, you know, really not really anyone's going to be able to sit behind me. Now, I've spoken about different options, so let me just go through them. So you've got the paint, the Orange Fury paint, which looks very nice, like I say. That is £795. This car also has the, oh, come on, autofocus. You're really not playing ball with me today, are you? Jesus, in your own time. So Magnum Ride adaptive suspension, that's £1,600, which does seem a lot, but I would recommend it. I must admit, I haven't driven a Mustang without the adaptive suspension, but I imagine there would be a noticeable difference. You've also seen a custom pack 4. So you've got 4 different custom packs, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've got a number 4, obviously, so it comes with the Shaker 12-speaker premium audio system, satellite navigation. Ah, interesting. So this car wouldn't come standard with navigation. So apologies, guys. I said that was standard earlier, or I at least gave you the impression it was standard when it isn't, which is actually quite disappointed. You also get climate controlled seats. However, because this car has got the option of Recaros, that deletes the climate controlled seats, which is a little bit disappointing. And you've got the 19-inch forged alloys in silver. I actually prefer the standard alloys this car comes with, but that's personal preference. That pack is £2,365, and of course you've got the Recaro seats I mentioned earlier. They are £1,400, meaning this car, as it stands, is £47,905, which may seem like a fair amount, but let's not forget, if you wanted to get a similar car from Germany, sorry guys, autofocus. I think it's because it's getting darker. I do find this camera does struggle with autofocus when it gets darker. Abysmal. I do apologise, guys. Let me try and move it, see if it get something else. There we go. So yeah, if you wanted you know, a similar car from Germany, you would be paying quite a lot more. You could also have a Lexus I can't get the words out. A Lexus RCF, but that is around £60,000, maybe a bit more. You could also have a Chevrolet Camaro, of course, Camaro. But again, trying to get one of those in the UK is a bit of a faff, because there's not many dealers. Whereas with a full dealer, you know, you're pretty much only a few miles away from your local full dealer, if that. Right. Yeah, it's really starting to get quite dark now. So let's look at boot space. Again, I imagine a lot of you watching this aren't probably interested, but you know, some of you may be interested. So it's quite a big old boot, which is full of my crap, as per usual. So it's 408 litres, which is a fair size And in all honesty, the chances are if you were to buy this car, you would probably use the back seats as a secondary boot anyway, because like I say, not really, not many people will be able to sit there anyway. So you could either fold the rear seats down and just have it as a sort of kind of two-seater, I suppose, or you could just simply dump your bags on the back seats, whatever you would prefer. Now, the bit that I'm sure you are most interested in, of course, the engine. So let me open up the bonnet like so. No, it's passenger side, isn't it? Right, let me pop round here. There we are. That sounds so mechanical, I like it. Sounds manly. Right, talking of manly, this bonnet, as you can imagine, is very heavy, so doing it with one hand will require lots of muscles. And now I need to somehow pick that up, and my hands are full. Give me a moment. Oh, and there we go. What a sexy beast. So this Mustang is of course fitted with the 5 litre V8 petrol engine. Now, power has been increased from the last model. The last model had, I believe, 418 horsepower, whereas this car has been increased to 450 horsepower. Torque has also been increased ever so slightly, so it's risen from, I believe it was 524 before, whereas now it is 527. You'll hit 62 miles per hour in under 5 seconds and continue to a top speed of 155. Now, as you can imagine, this car isn't particularly frugal. On a combined run, you should be able to get 23.3 miles to the gallon, and in my experience, I've pretty much hit that, in all honesty, which is a godsend because, yeah, the first day I had this, I drove it around Kingston upon Thames. For those of you who don't know, it's kind of Greater London, very nice place, but it's also a very busy place with lots of traffic. I got just under 15 mpg, and that wasn't even like I was spanking it, because obviously, I was in a built-up area and there was traffic. On the motorway, I've been getting around 33, 34, which is an improvement, but still not exactly a Toyota price, is it? But let's face it, given the choice, would you rather drive this or a Prius? Or Prius, up to you. In regards to CO2, it emits 277 grams per kilometre, meaning for the first year of VED, you'll be required to pay, I hope you've sat down, £2,070. Yes, that's right, that is a whole lot of money. But it's worth it. As soon as you fire it up, it sounds glorious, and you simply fall in love. That's until you floor it and you need to find your local petrol station quite quickly. Speaking of which, I think it's about time I fire it up. It's not too many people around, so I'll try and give it a few revs, but like I say, there are some stables around here and there is a house over there, so I don't want to upset the locals, especially when I use this car park a lot to film. So you shouldn't really crap on your own doorstep, so to speak. Right, let's pop this back down. There we go. Right, anyway, I think it's about time I give you some exhaust noise. Now, this car is quite loud, and I don't think I'm going to have many stabs at getting this right, so I'm going to try and move my microphone as far away as possible, and hopefully the sound won't distort. So what I'll do is I will do a normal startup, which will be quite loud, but it won't be a cold start because the car has been driven. I will then give you a demonstration of what quiet mode is. Now, I haven't mentioned it, but this car has got the good neighbour mode. So basically, if you live in a built-up area, like I do, and you don't want to annoy your neighbours, you can select a time whereby, if you, let's say you leave for work early in the morning, like I do, you can actually specify to have the car start quietly. Well, I say quietly, it's quiet-ish, it's still quite loud, in fact. But anyway, I'm waffling. You don't want to hear my voice anymore, you want to hear that exhaust. So hopefully I'll be able to cut to a clip of some wonderful V8 noise. And there we go, the brand new Ford Mustang. I still can't believe that I've been able to, I can't believe I've been given the opportunity to spend a whole week with this car. I won't lie, it hasn't been a cheap week in regards to fuel, but you know what, it's worth it. It's not very often I get access to cars like this, so I really need to make the most of it. But yeah, there will of course be more videos coming. There'll be a Patsy Rates Cars video, and there will also be the main review as well. So be sure to check out for, be sure to watch out for those videos. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more car obsession.